So one of the things that Game Central said was that the review said was that DOA 6 was pitched for beginners. I just find that absolutely laughable. So I'm here in free training with my character, my favourite character, Christy, and I've just put a random opponent in and it's turned up to be Elliot. So we're going to take away the fight screen info, but you can, have that on to help you in your training. Let's turn it off. Okay, so we'll go into the command list. Now, you can see there will be a few pages here, and we can scroll down to unique strikes. Then we have back-facing strikes. Then we have attacks from Jaco's stance, so Christy has a different stance. And we have throws, different throws that you can do from different things. And of course, holds. Some players have what are called expert holds, where you have to input 2 directions before you press your hold button. Christy being really built for damage and speed is not one of these players that has combo throws or expert holds, but there are characters that do. A lot of characters do have a different stance. So for example here, Christy will be able to, by simply up or down P and K, go into said Jaco stance. And she will be able to move in it and do moves in it. When she's not in this stance, she will be able to come out of moves and go into her stance. And that means that I can cut short things and go into her stance and then go into moves that lead from her stance. I can drift in and out of that in a fight as per the situation, right? That's a basic example of it. With the hit, throw, hold scenario, what you get is a strike is greater than a throw is greater than a hold, and a hold is greater than a strike. Well, a hold is greater than a strike if you select the correct hold. And yeah, there's a lot of moves that you can do. So if you get familiar with a character in a fight, you will be able to choose what you want to do accordingly. So one of the things that I've said is that DOA is about combos, and less so in this game. In DOA 5, in single player, because what happens in DOA is a character, when you juggle them, will gain a certain amount of airtime. In tag, in DOA 5, the airtime is greater because tag is different to single player. In DOA 5, the single player airtime for a launched foe is greater than in DOA 6, because, as I've said before, the tighter arenas and the way that the super is structured, the mechanics of this fighting game, there's a lot of emphasis on the super, and the super becomes integral to your part of play. And that is why I need to work out the finer points of DOA. There's a lot about the super that I need to integrate in my style of play in DOA 6, because in DOA 5 the power blows were key. So for example, you would have to do a few moves with your character to set your opponent up to be in a state that you could administer the power blow. DOA 6's super is completely different in reliance on a bar, where you can use part of your bar or you can use your whole 2 bars, and that is big differences in shorter combos, also less damage I've noticed. I think my biggest combo with Christy was 20 hits, but that was, you see these people on the edge here, where if you knock the foe into them, they'll push them back into the arena, and I comboed them, with 20 hits. Freestanding without walls, my biggest combo in DOA 6, or biggest damage combo, is a 10 hit combo. and that does about 90. There's a few variations where you can get 89, 90 or 91, and I think I've put the 89 version up in a different video. So yeah, if you're saying it's pitched at beginners, I'm not really sure why. DOA has always been a pick-up and playable game, and that's what got me hooked on it in the first place back on the old Xbox with DOA 3, because I found that I could have fun. So no version of DOA has been different in that regard. What has been different is moves have changed, and the systems have changed, and the mechanics have changed, the height of opponent has changed. Tag mode was introduced in DOA 4, a critical burst or super was introduced in DOA 5 because DOA 4 didn't have one. So tweaks to the game have meant that, you know, different versions of DOA have played differently. So why are they saying it's pitched for beginners? Just go character select screen. Let's have a look, shall we? Okay, so this character here, the one I'm moving about on the left hand side of the screen, if you look at it, here's a character that was added in DOA 5, and she's called Mila. She's a kickboxer, and I'm thinking about trying to learn Mila. Bayman is stood on the right hand side, and I'm also thinking about learning Bayman. These two characters are different, and obviously the character that I showed you in the first clip, Christy, is different to these. Now if we go into Mila's command list, Mila's a very interesting character, and I bet she's a lot of fun for players who can use her properly. Again, we've got the list of unique sprites. You'll see on the right hand side, like there at the bottom, it says SP, tackle feint, SP backstep, back to foe, tackle feint. So Mila's a kickboxer, and the tackle feints we'll get to in a minute. Back facing strikes, not too many. Attacks from tackle feint. Now what that means for Mila is, being a kickboxer, she can grab people, she can do moves while they're on the ground. So she's got a normal attacks, but she can feint, and then she can do something else. Mila looks very good. So where Christy I showed you, she's got a different stance, and many of the characters in this game have different stances and you can do different things. Mila has this tackle feint, and you know, she can, as it says there, ground fighting. She can, you know, grab opponents on the ground and, you know, do things to them on the ground. She's got different throws that she can do, and she can do those from, you know, do the ground things from the tackle feint. Yeah, she's a really good character, and you can see down at the bottom there in the hold where I said about the expert holds, and you'll get two directions for some of the expert holds. Lei Fang's very, you know, good at expert holds, Lei Fang the character, and Mila's got a couple in this game. I think Hitomi has a couple in this game too. Bayman is very throwy, very grabby, very reversey kind of character, as well as his strikes and stuff. So yeah, I've really got no idea why they're saying it's pitched at beginners. It's always been very playable and very fun.